Hello, it's Denise from Up the Potting Shed, and I've got a bumper harvest. It's 31st of August and everything is really going crazy now. This is what it's all about. So I've got a day of preserving all of this stuff. I don't want any of it to go to waste. I'm going to start off with the tomatoes. Now, the absolute best way to preserve a tomato, if you tend to cook with it, is to freeze it. It's so easy. You simply take the top off, pop it in a bag, and in the freezer it goes. My preserving day begins with popping the tomatoes into the freezer. The absolute easiest way to preserve a tomato if you intend to cook with it. So simple. Get the tomato, pull off the little stalk, and it's ready for the freezer. So that will come out of the freezer, and the most annoying, fiddly job in the world is peeling a fresh tomato, in my humble opinion. Well, the fantastic thing about freezing them is they come out of the freezer, you get a nice bubbling hot water, they plunge in there for less than a minute and the skin just falls off. I scoop them out and then plunge them in a nice cold bath of water. Perfect. So simple, saves an awful amount of time. So they're going to get a really good wash during that process, so I don't need to wash them now. And that actually, in my opinion, will help them in the freezer because they freeze nicely if they're really dry. I like these little Ziploc bags. Aim for a single layer of tomatoes so I can freeze them nice and cleanly. I don't label them because it will be obvious what it is, and I definitely will use these up before the end of the year. This is why I grow tomatoes. There's only so many salads you can eat. Cheese sandwiches with slices of tomato on them. I like to have the tomatoes in the freezer or canned up to use for cooking the rest of the year. And my absolute aim is to be self-sufficient in tomato, but we eat a lot of tinned tomato, so that's quite an ask. Absolute glut of cherry tomatoes, and I'm really pleased about that because I love to cook with cherry tomatoes. One of our absolute favourite weekend treats is a bacon sandwich, and I've got a fantastic quick way of cooking up these cherry tomatoes. We've got a selection through, I think that's a very tiny Amish paste. So we've got Sun Gold, that's a Gardener's Delight cherry tomato, Irish variety. And that is chocolate cherry. Let's have a bit of a taste test. Ooh, look at that chocolate cherry. Really juicy. About the amount of seeds you'd expect in a tomato. Let's have a taste test. I really like that. Sweet but tangy. I mean, tomato flavour is subjective. I quite like a bit of acidity, but I'd call that tangy rather than acidic. Really nice and sweet. I like that tomato. That's very, very nice. That's chocolate cherry. Here we've got the Sun Gold, slightly underripe, but nice and soft. And of course, if you leave Sun Gold too long, they will split. Less juicy, I think, than the chocolate cherry. About the same amount of seed. Sun Gold. That is one of my favourite cherry tomatoes. Sun Gold, absolute. I love the flavour of Sun Gold, but again, it's subjective. Some people say they love it, some people not so keen. I really like Sun Gold. Completely different flavour, but I would say similar acidity levels. Let's try again. So the chocolate cherry, it is sweet, but more acidic overall. The Sun Gold's just got something a little bit additional, almost like a pineapple-y aftertaste. So let's try the... So this is the Irish Gardener's Delight cherry tomato. Looks like your pretty average cherry tomato. Thinner skinned, plenty of seeds, bit of whiter core. You kind of lose... I don't really know how to describe the flavours. This Irish Gardener's Delight is different again, but also a really nice tomato. I'll tell you what, I'll be growing all three of these varieties again because I love that flavour combo in a salad. Really nice. Just, you know, all different enough to be distinct. All really nice cherry tomatoes. Back they will go. So, my super easy method of cooking up some cooked tomato to go with a bacon sandwich. A couple of handfuls of cherry tomatoes into a Pyrex bowl, drizzle over a little olive oil, salt and pepper, cover, microwave 2 to 3 minutes. Give it a good stir with a spoon and you've got tomatoes that are tin tomato consistency but very fresh tasting and beautiful, and you can do that from frozen. So I'm just preparing my sweet peppers for the freezer. I don't bother to blanch them. I like to pick them fresh and get them in the freezer the same day. And I'm using these up to a year. I would want to use them up within a year, but I find if I take them out 11 months from now, they'll be as fresh and as beautiful as when they went in, and that's without any kind of blanching. So, and one of the reasons I love to grow these sort of banana shaped peppers is they're incredibly easy to clean. So much easier than a bell pepper. I mean, I know a bell pepper's not super difficult, but when you're processing a lot of food for the freezer, or even when you're getting a meal ready, it's nice to save a bit of time. These are the Toro sweet, the green. The red is the Turkish Delight. No special prep. These aren't going to be in the freezer really much more than 6 months. And I find as long as I lay them out in a nice single layer and flash freeze them, those will be fine. These are the Czech wax peppers and they have started to colour up, but I've got so many of the Turkish Delight peppers coming through that I've decided I'm going to have more than enough red pepper, and it's nice to have a selection of colours, and these are yellow compared to the green. That just makes a nice mix. So I actually have achieved my goal to be self-sufficient in peppers, which is lovely. And that's the way I like to tackle self-reliance and self-sufficiency. I like to pick a product and see if I can grow enough never to have to buy again. Now the peppers and the tomatoes are dealt with for the day. Better get on with some apples, and this is just one of 6 bags of plums. Well, better get on with all that preserving. I hope you're having fun in your garden. Take care. Bye bye.